Good evening. My name is Dan Dumas here at Clarity Crew. This is the 5 by 5. Tonight, Monday night, I've selected Psalm 139 for our consideration. In particular, the first 6 verses. There's a number of reasons why I have selected Psalm 139. First, it is the crown of all Psalms. It's like the Mont Blanc of Psalms. It's a high watermark of the Psalter. Second, these 24 verses extol the attributes of God. They put within us a high view of God. Third, this particular psalm is a favorite of mine because it is the single greatest aid to my grace-induced progressive sanctification. The perfect intelligence of God, that God knows everything about me, my family, everything there is to know, God knows, is a huge aid to my personal sanctification. Let me read the text. I've entitled it, The Myth of Privacy. This is Psalm 139. Let's look at the first 6 verses. O Lord, you've searched me and you've known me. You know when I sit down and when I rise up. You understand my thoughts from afar. You scrutinize my path and my lying down and are intimately acquainted with all my ways. Even before there's a word on my tongue, behold, O Lord, you know it all. You have enclosed me behind and before. You have laid your hand upon me. Ah, such knowledge! It's too wonderful for me. It's too high. I cannot attain to it. Again, this psalm is the single greatest aid to my personal sanctification. The myth of privacy. You know, we love our privacy. We revel in privacy. We value privacy. But I want to remind you, biblically, you do not have privacy. There is always a guest, maybe an unseen guest, but a guest in your life, and that is our holy God. And he has perfect intelligence about your life. Well, Psalm 139 reminds us that we can't pull the wool over God's eyes. Did you notice the detail? The Psalm 139 in each of the 4 sections represent 4 attributes. Each of these answers the question, how well does God really know us? I mean, how well does he know us? Well, you can see from this text, there are a number of implications here in the text. First, he's into the details, micro details. He knows when we're sitting down and when we're rising up. Second, he even knows our unspoken words. Of course, he would know our words that are spoken like everybody else that would hear them. But he even knows the unspoken ones, even when you're murmuring or speaking under your breath. Third, he knows our motives. He has perfect discernment. His perfect intelligence provides him perfect discernment. He knows why we do what we do. I would remind you that he knows you even better than yourself. Fourth, he's always on location. He is, the psalmist writes, David writes, intimately acquainted with all our ways. Every single bit of it. And fifth, he encompasses us, right? Do you remember the drafting compass that we used in grade school? There was a point where I wanted to be an architect. It was a small point, but there was a point when I wanted to be an architect. I loved the compass where you would have a pencil and you'd put a point down. You'd draw a circle or a half radius, right, with that drafting compass. Well, God does that. He puts a point down in our life when we're committed to him and we have a relationship with him, and he encompasses us. He besieges us. He walls us in. He knows everything about your life. Now, we live out our view of God every single day. So if you have a high view of God, that should produce a high standard of living. However, if you have a low view of God, it is going to produce a low view of living. So here's the question. Let's wrap this up. Verse 6. Is this understanding of who God is and that he blows up our privacy, is that a comfort to you or is that a threat? It should be a comfort that God knows your needs. He is intimately acquainted with all of your ways, that your life is an open book, and if you keep short sin accounts, this should be a tremendous comfort, that nothing has taken God by surprise. However, if you are dealing with secret sin, if you are not keeping short sin accounts, if you are not a believer, a follower of the Lord Jesus Christ, this psalm is actually a threat. And so I ask you, is this psalm this evening a comfort or a threat? It is my prayer that you would live out your view of God. It is my prayer that you would understand that God is high and lofty. And as this psalm was mind-blowing to David, it should be mind-blowing to us this evening. I hope you appreciate the reality that privacy is a myth. This is Dan Dumas at the Clarity Crew. Be encouraged, be clear, be strengthened, and be advised. Secret sin on earth is open scandal in heaven.